Hi everyone, this is Jeff Queen. I'm a four-time World Championship snare drummer and an original cast member of the Broadway show Blast. Gilbert Garcia asked me to put a little video together explaining what percussion means to me. And I've got to say, playing drums, playing music is pretty much everything to me. I would not be where I am today in my life if it wasn't for my love for drums and percussion. Started playing drums when I was about 10, got into marching band when I was 14, got into drum corps when I was 16, and to this day, I'm still involved in the activity as a consultant or as a teacher, and still have a passion for playing drums. So everybody that's in my life that's not my blood family is a result of really being involved in drum corps or being involved in music. I met some amazing people along the way, some friends that I still hold dear to my heart in this day. My wife I met because of doing drum corps and performing. And like I said, pretty much everybody and almost everything that I have in my life is a result of my passion for playing drums. So I share this with you because regardless of what you want to do in your life, you're embarking on a journey by playing percussion, playing music that can stay with you for the rest of your life, and you can make a lot of great friends in the process. So what's cool is that everybody's like-minded. Everybody wants to play. Everybody's into the music, so you can share a lot through playing drums and playing music. So I urge you to stick with it. I urge you to take advantage of the events that are around you, like the Valley Percussion Festival. And I urge you to be curious and to continue to learn about the craft of music and playing drums. Best of luck to you and happy drumming.
Hello, 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 friends. Um, totally excited to finally be back after taking a small mandatory break, right? Our work obligations kept us pretty busy on top of our regular schedule. We've been dealing with COVID. We've been dealing with the COVID situation, taking precautions, and I'm sure all of you out there, of our friends out there, and family, because we think of you as such. We're going through it, right? We're having to take extra steps, extra precautions, jumping over different hoops, and taking all sorts of necessary additional extra steps, right? But we are finally here, finally back, and we have uh, um, quite a bit of already artists set up. FYI, Thomas Lang will be doing something with him. We're setting up a date. We're setting up a date with Derek Roddy, the blast beat, right? And there's this gentleman that has played with a lot of the pop, most important pop artists from Mexico. Amazing drum set player, Ivan Nunez. Really stoked about that one. So stay up to date with us. Follow us, our pages. That way you can stay in the loop and be able to join us, guys. We really have fun and enjoy having you around, answering your questions, getting to meet the artists. This is what it's all about. Today today is a very special one. Um, the TIERRAS South Texas Percussion Competition 2021. Wow. Dr. Ramirez, Dr. Schirripa, I learned his pronunciation today, right? And Isenia, Mr. Dr. Zaripa gave me Skiripa gave me a lesson on how to pronounce her name from Corpus, and also Ron Schermerhorn, right? They put uh, their heads together, and they came up with this awesome competition, guys. Awesome. And you definitely want to get your students involved. You definitely want to get yourself involved. A lot of learning, and I think this is an amazing opportunity. Personally, I will be having my students going and participating. And ladies, gentlemen, um you definitely want to take part of this. I also I'm being reminded James Moyer from Laredo. He's also part of the brains, right, behind this. Well, with all this said, I guess I've set the tone. And how about if we bring our guests in and start discussing discussing how it started or how it came about, right? The inception, and the rules, regulations, and any questions that you might have about this. So, without further ado, Dr. Marco Schirripa and Dr. Mark Rodriguez, gentlemen, I am so honored and excited to have you here today. Thank you for allowing or giving us this opportunity.
No,
Thank
thanks so much
you.
for having us.
Thank you for inviting us, Gilbert.
Uh,
Pero ¿qué te pasó, Gilbert? Ramirez, sorry, my name is Ramirez, not Rodriguez, but thank you. That is a beautiful name
Rodriguez.
as well. Yes.
Okay, Dr.
Now-
Ramirez.
Now we
Dr.
need you to
Ramirez.
come back. Now we need you to come back and
let's do it
Can we
again.
start it over?
Yeah. Yes. Dr. Ramirez was my professor in college, so there's a very good relationship and a lot of history between us. Yes.
Yes. Quite a bit. So why don't we just kind of start with the idea behind the competition. Marco Schirripa, also known as Schirripa, joined the team in the fall of 2020. So is that correct?
Like came to UTRGV or
yeah, UTRGV.
Yeah, fall 2020, right? Yeah. Feels like it's been like 8 years. So
yeah, pandemic fog is real.
August 2020 was when I started.
Yeah, so he actually interviewed in February of 2020, and in March, in the middle of March, that's when everything changed rather quickly. So it was in, I think, late spring that I pitched an idea to him that I had been thinking about for about a year, which was to create a competition, but that would focus on marimba, that would focus on either snare drum or multi-percussion or other facets, which we will eventually develop other caption categories for the competition. But the main idea behind this was to not do this as a standalone competition, and as a single institution. Really, the idea was to collaborate with multiple institutions that universities that you find throughout the South Texas. So of course we have Texas A&M Corpus Christi, A&M International in Laredo.
Yes.
STC.
South Texas College. We were going to reach out to Texas A&M Kingsville, but we were informed at the time prior to starting our meetings that Mr. Randy Fluman had retired. So we had to wait and see who was going to be brought on board. So now I think was it Dr. Ben Tomlinson?
Yep.
I believe is now visiting faculty there. So we're going to start to have some conversations probably sometime in the spring to see if they'll be interested in joining this this consortium, because I think it's something that is going to be a real game changer for the region of South Texas. Nothing like this has been done before. Yes. Of course, the idea behind this too is to allow each institution to host this competition.
Oh,
so
yes.
We're essentially serving as the inaugural institution to host the event. Then next year we'll pass the baton over either to Corpus Christi or Laredo or Kingsville, whoever would like to host.
I really I'm really stoked about the whole idea, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why. I guess a perspective from an educator, right? That's gonna have students participate. The all region, competitions that happen, our kids within the schools in the region compete pretty much against each other, and that's what makes the music programs and the students themselves better. Well, now what you just did is you open up a whole can of worms. Now you made, I guess if we want to talk about the region, you just made the region a lot bigger, right? And now you're including all of South Texas pretty much, right? Kingsville, Corpus, Laredo, Brownsville. So now there's more in the mix, right? Now
And
you
I
really got
will
to up your
say,
game.
I will say that also our decision to include both college and high school, and at least as of this year, we don't
Yes.
have any restrictions on location or year. So, like theoretically, if you were a 35-year-old doctoral student, you could enter. If in the future, if we start getting larger enrollments and that's becomes an
Yeah.
issue,
Yeah.
we'll do things. But I can say that we do have people that will be attending the competition from outside the RGV as well.
Yeah.
Already this year, we have interest from further away, which actually I will say wasn't exactly what I was expecting when we first started this idea. We actually started meeting our little, panel of planners. We
The
started meeting
committee.
actually for the first time around this time last year. I remember very
Mm.
distinctly because I got very, very sick the first time that we met, not COVID, uh, but but we started meeting and discussing like, hey, what can we do to collaborate? What's an awesome thing that we can do to bring something to the Valley that isn't available? And in my mind, I was thinking about when I was in college, I would go to a summer festival. Like I went to Zeltzman Marimba Festival twice actually when I was in college. Amazing experience, but it cost a lot of money to get there. It was in Wisconsin. I had to fly to Wisconsin for 2 weeks and spend a ton of money to go there. And, take into consideration everything that makes up the Valley, not just, the financial barrier of making something like that happen, but also the
Yes.
fact that we're so far away from so much.
Yes.
Bringing some sort of high level networking, learning event, playing event to this area that's
Yes.
actually closer and more accessible to the people down here, I
Yes.
think could be a really good thing. But then the difficulty was, well, what are we going to do? Like, it would be cool to maybe do a summer festival, but also like starting that from nothing is really difficult. And then Mark,
Yes.
of course, had the idea to do some sort of competition. And then Ksenia, KK, as we call her, also had a similar idea. She was very supportive of that idea. And so it ended up turning into
TIERRAS.
yeah, which is Mark's wonderful title.
Oh,
Yeah,
how did you come with a title? How did you come up with
well,
a title?
honestly, I'm really fascinated by Pablo Neruda's, poetry. So he has, sonetos, right? Love sonnets. And then he has these versos del Capitán. So one of his poems is called La Tierra. And that name just stuck with me. And the fact that, this competition is going to, rotate, throughout, the South Texas region. Each location is going to have its own unique tierra. You know what I mean? Its own kind of
twist to it.
forma de ser, right?
Yes.
Which I think is a beautiful, aspect of culture. And there is, I mean, culture can have quite a bit of complexity, but within one's own culture, if you just change zip codes, there are these little different approaches to how they do things, and if you can experience that, to me it really enriches your perspectives and your process. So being able to work with the various faculty from Senya, KK out in Texas A&M, coming from Europe, Eastern Europe, is bringing some incredible perspective to this region that unfortunately we are isolated from the rest of the state. And while some people believe and I love San Antonio,
Yeah.
some people believe that South Texas is San Antonio, and
Yes.
that really isn't the case. I consider San Antonio to be part of the hill country.
Yeah.
South Texas to me is even, past, I guess, south of George West, Three Rivers. Really, once you get into Falfurrias,
Yes. Yes. I was about to say that.
I don't know where that dividing line is, and perhaps shame on me, but I'll have that down for the next time. But
maybe it's gray. Maybe it's gray. I don't know.
But yeah, it's I think it's really important to provide, the way Marco was talking about, these opportunities for the high school students, college students, graduate students that wouldn't normally have this opportunity or option to do so. Even potentially in the state, they'd have to travel outside of the state, and or travel to PASIC,
Yes.
once a year, and hopefully once we get this up and running, our hope is to try to host 2 events per academic year, so potentially one in the fall, one in the spring.
That would be
this is where
great.
And we'll start to develop this again as we progress, but we're doing solo marimba, solo snare drum. Maybe we can in the second iteration do a second competition that opens up either to multi-percussion and or percussion ensemble. So there's a bunch of different directions we can go with this, maybe even potentially having a call for scores in the future. So there's a lot of things we can do here. And of course with Dr. Moyer over at Texas A&M International in Laredo. I've had an opportunity to go to Laredo a couple times, and it's Laredo was really cool, and I had a connection, or have a connection there with a great jazz guitarist named Rick Cortez. A lot of the layout of the border town, it's RGB. To me, it feels like some parts feel like Brownsville, some parts feel like when you get closer to Reynosa or Nuevo Progreso, it has that kind of feel to it, right?
It's like a little melting pot of these areas, right, sir? A little melting pot of all these areas.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my poetic, romantic idea behind TIERRAS. And then of course Dr. Schirripa was on board from the beginning, and he really took the lead and helped reach out and start developing the narrative with all the kind of the co-directors. I mean, everybody essentially is considered a co-director, and everybody is contributing in some form to this project, and that really has made it I think run really smooth, and takes a lot of the stress off of kind of one person specifically. So this
isn't the biggest event in the world, but it's still pretty stressful to make it happen from scratch. Having a team of 5 people that all had massive, noteworthy contributions to, I wouldn't even say the success yet because we haven't done it yet, but the fact that it's happening and we have what we need to make it actually happen. It was a pretty stressful summer. And, I was sort of taking the lead as I organized the meetings, and, for the most part was contacting everyone, and like did things like I wrote the budget, and that's the kind of stuff they're like, oh, it'd be cool to plan a competition. But then it's like, oh no, this isn't cool.
You start to realize there's a lot of variables that have to be accounted for, and everybody did an incredible job of providing feedback and insight into what we need to consider and what we need to put out there with regards to guidelines, rules, timelines. So I think this would probably be a perfect time to pivot over to Marco to talk about I guess our website and rules, guidelines, registration deadlines, so forth. So
Sure. Yeah, and I will just add on to that, that one of our big focuses here, we're trying to bring something awesome to the Valley, that may not be accessible. But then on top of that, we want it to be inclusive and be something that, we don't want this to be like an exclusive event that's like, whatever international universal competition in Belgium or something like that, or Trump. No, we want this to be something that like people can come in and benefit from being in, like that you're going to want to be a part of, that you're going to want to enter, even if your sole goal isn't, leaving with the top prize, right? You're still going to come in, still going to play. You're still going to get great feedback from judges. You're still going to get to see everyone else play. You're going to get to attend, both of two of our guest judges, Ivan Trevino and Sherry Rubens, who we haven't mentioned yet. Ivan Trevino and Sherry Rubens are coming down, as well as Michael Hustis.
Yes.
Hustis, from up in Dallas, are all coming down, who is currently president of Texas PAS.
Yes, the chapter, yes.
And so we're so fortunate to have the three of them coming down. And in the morning, Sherry Rubens will be giving a clinic. And then before our final concert, Ivan Trevino will be giving a clinic in addition to acting as judges. So there's more to get from what's going on. It's not just they're sitting there in a chair. There'll actually be interactivity with our guests, right? And so, the way that I see it is like we have to have an entry fee because we have to afford to make something like this happen, right? But if you think about it, it's like it's almost like you're getting at least one lesson with these guests. You're playing for them, you're getting feedback in addition to being able to attend the event, for the price of a private lesson. So
yes.
And so that's what the thought is. We want to have it be a situation where people can also afford to be a part of it and feel welcome to be a part of it, even if they're not necessarily gunning for the top prize or something like that. So anyway, the format of the competition also was the subject of a lot of discussion, because what category should we have? Should it be high school and college? Should it just be college? What are we trying to do here? And we decided for year one, since again, this is the first time we're doing this, there are sure to be bumps in the road somewhere. Doing a snare drum division and a keyboard division is kind of the safest route for year number one. Because if we have 1 million people show up playing, Xenakis or Stockhausen or something, having to deal with how we get that equipment here, that's definitely something that we can do in the future, right? But goal number one is to make it happen. And so solo snare drum, solo keyboard division. One rule that we have for this year is that no accompaniment or electronics are allowed. So it's all unaccompanied solo. So unaccompanied solo snare drum, unaccompanied solo keyboard. And we chose the word keyboard carefully because we don't want to limit it to just marimba. So, vibraphone solos are cool. Yeah. If you want to play a solo chimes piece, that's fine. I don't know if anyone would be doing that, but totally welcome. And then the kicker for the snare drum division is that both the high school, we call it scholastic, and the collegiate division will have a required snare drum solo. So each one of those has exactly 1 minute long solo. And those are both going to go live on the website on November 1st. So that's like a week and a half, 10 days or something, 11 days. And so those are brand new pieces. No one's seen them before. The only people that have seen them are the people on the committee that all gave it the thumbs up. And so those will go up and everyone will have, everyone will be in the same boat to have 1 month basically to prepare that for the competition. And we decided that was kind of a fair thing because it's very possible that especially on snare drum, we can get a pretty wide variety of entries. Yes. Someone could come in and play Delacruz number 1, and then someone could come in and play like some ridiculous marching snare solo, that's like insanely technical. And it's like, how do you really compare those against each other?
Yes.
And so by having kind of a piece that encompasses a lot of skills and musical ability to sort of level the playing field, we thought is kind of the most fair option.
Okay.
Did you want to add something, Mark? Sorry.
No, I was just I actually stayed stuck on something you were talking about, you know, Stockhausen and Xenakis. You know, this is the you know, kind of percussion literature lecture, you know, coming out in me, but it's so crazy that, you know, to think that, you know, one of the first multi percussion solos, you know, to be written, you know, didn't come until I think it's like circa 1959 with Zeiklus from Stockhausen. So, you know, we're already almost in the last quarter of the 20th century, and we just barely get our first multi percussion solo. So, you know, certainly, you know, the idea as, you know, a percussion instrument as a viable solo instrument still too is really in its infancy. You know, I've had an opportunity to work out in Scotland the last 4 years, you know, face to face. The last 2 years it's been virtual, but I learned something very revealing and actually shocking, that it wasn't until around 1991 in Europe and potentially in the UK that you know, a solo percussionist, a marimbist, was considered a viable soloist with the orchestra. 1991. That's crazy. That's crazy. So you know, this is I think something that we're not you know, taking for granted, and really wanting to, you know, to have some success with this, because the more, you know, opportunities that we can create for percussionists, you know, the better off, you know, we're going to be,
Yes.
you know, in continuing to develop as an instrument, you know, within the discipline. So, you know, hopefully we can be, you know, a collective that you know, can contribute. And of course, we have some incredible sponsors that have, you know, hopped on board with us, you know, and you know, Ron Schermerhorn, you know, helped facilitate, you know, several of those, you know, Schirripa. I mean, everybody did. So, you know, hopefully we'll keep growing, and you know, we'll see. Maybe eventually we can also get some sort of you know, philanthropy patronage that could help with some of our prize categories in the future. But
yeah, absolutely. We were very, very fortunate, especially considering the state of the world right now, that we were, to be completely honest, we were able to get much more sponsor support than I expected. And of course, as Mark mentioned, Mr. Melhart at Melhart Music was very, very willing to help out, which is very much appreciated. And I believe they'll be set up at the competition as well.
Nice.
I think he'll have a booth.
Yes.
And then, of course, just I guess since I'm looking at it, you know, we also are receiving support from Black Swamp, Zildjian, Vic Firth, Beetle Percussion, Sawyer's, JG, and Heartland Marimba, which Heartland Marimba is not an instrument company, but they do have a publication division. And so all of those, after Melhart, all of those companies have contributed in some form, things that'll be given out as prizes. As well as promo. You know, we have like 1 million Vic Firth lanyards and all the brochures, all the typical stuff you'd see at an event like this.
Yes.
But many of those companies have also very graciously contributed equipment that'll be given out as prizes for the various divisions. One of the most notable here is JG Percussion just released their very first line of marimba mallets, the Matthew Coley marimba mallets, and we're going to get some of those, which will be really cool.
Yes.
Heartland Marimbas giving us some copies of their marimba solos.
Nice.
So some cool stuff coming. And some of those prizes are listed on the website. And as it becomes more clear, you know, we might have the exact prizes listed. on the website, but there's some good stuff. So
Nice. Nice.
But yeah, and in addition to that, I don't think that we've made too big of a stink about this yet, because we've kind of been giving out information gradually. But the winner of each of the 4 divisions, so scholastic marimba, scholastic snare drum, college keyboard, college snare drum, we have 4 percussionists who have agreed to give a free private lesson to each winner. And so I hope I'm remembering this correctly. I believe scholastic keyboard, one of the prizes for the winner will be a private lesson via Zoom, I guess in person if possible, but most of these people are not nearby. So they're expecting it to be over Zoom with Sam who's assistant professor of percussion at University of Kansas. He's a student out of Yale. I believe he went to Yale. Yeah. And then scholastic snare drum will be a lesson with Caleb Pickering, who now teaches at a school out in Colorado, I believe. I apologize, Caleb, if you're watching this, that I cannot remember the name of the school you teach at. He just started this year, but Caleb's music is played everywhere.
Yes.
In Texas, especially. And so very happy to call in a favor with him, and happy to have him a part of it. The collegiate snare drum will have a private lesson with Carly Vigna, who is the new assistant professor of percussion at Shenandoah Conservatory. And she's also on the At Percussion podcast with Casey Cangelosi. And then the winner of the collegiate keyboard division will get a lesson with Kevin Bobo. So
that, yes.
Yeah. So
those are, you were talking about opportunities, Dr. Ramirez. Those are some beautiful opportunities that otherwise, South Texas students wouldn't have. So that's beautiful. It got me excited. Yes. For my students, hopefully, the possibilities there. That's awesome. I
want to listen with Kevin Bobo.
Yeah.
Maybe I should enter.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful. And when I heard that you guys were releasing or actually doing this event, it got me really excited for that reason I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Now you just made the playing field bigger, more people involved, the healthy competitive side of students and teachers comes out, and it just makes things better for everybody. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Really excited about that, and really excited. We haven't really gotten the word out about the lessons yet.
Yes.
So that's going to be, kind of in the coming weeks. We'll post everyone's bios and let everyone know about that, which I think is a really cool part of what's available for sure.
Yes. Yes.
But if it's okay, I just wanted to go over just a few kind of just pieces of information, just so they're out there. So basically, in case it's unclear, the competition will be a 1-day competition. That was part of our plan here because of, again, catering to the area where we are. We sort of planned the samples. We wrote up a sample schedule of what the day might look like and what rooms we're going to utilize. But the idea was, assuming that people would come from as far as Laredo, for South Texas, we wanted it to be a thing where people didn't have to stay in a hotel, where people could get here and get home the day that it happens. Granted, it's going to be a pretty long day, but it is physically safe and possible for most people located in South Texas to attend the competition and get back home in the same day.
Yes.
And that was one of the big focuses on having a 1-day long event. Granted, there are going to be people that are traveling further than that have made that decision. But for a bulk of, especially the high school students, being able to do that. But the competition is going to be this year on Saturday, December 4th, if we haven't mentioned that yet. The start time will be around 8 or 9 a.m. I would say it's very likely the start time will be 8 a.m., but it's going to depend on how many people we have.
Yes.
The schedule is going to be fluid. The registration deadline is November 24th, which is basically Thanksgiving break. I don't remember off the top of my head which day of the week that is. But it is Wednesday, November 24th. So it's the day before Thanksgiving. That way I can spend Thanksgiving writing the schedule. November 24th, 11:59 p.m. That's the registration deadline. You have to be paid by then. And then you'll have your spot to perform. And then December 4th, of course, schedule will come out really shortly after. You'll know what time you're going. At the competition, everyone plays in the prelim round. Again, this also depends on enrollment, but for the scholastic divisions, they will play the first round for Ksenia Komjanovich and James Moyer, two of our planning team. They'll be the judges for the first round. And we made that decision because they're located far away from where the competition is happening. So it's unlikely that, people that they know personally will be in that division. And then the collegiate divisions will be judged fully by Professor Rubens and Professor Trevino, Ivan Trevino, Sherry Rubens, and Michael Hustis will all judge the collegiate divisions. And then there will be 3 finalists from each division. So three college snare, 3 college keyboard, 3 high school snare, 3 high school keyboard that will all advance to finals. And then on our final concert will be Ivan gives his clinic, and then all 12 finalists will play their final round performances. And for that, the judges for all students will be Ivan, Sherry, and Michael. The 3 guests will be the judges for every that, and then we'll announce. There'll be the tabulation session, and then we'll announce winners at that final concert, followed by some sort of modest reception.
Yes.
So
it sounds to it's promising to be a pretty quite an event, right? Quite an event. Exciting to be a part of it, and some great teaching, some great learning, some great performances. The prices are definitely enticing, and being able to give the opportunity to have those lessons with those people, find educators. I think it's great. The opportunity is amazing. Again, I personally am really excited that you guys are doing it, and to have some of my students participate. And I really want to encourage everybody that's out there, everybody that's been watching, and I know a lot of people catch the replay. They sometimes are busy during this time, and you'll see the views rack up later. But make a point to have your students participate. Especially being in South Texas, it's different. It's a different scenario, situation, right? And we're coming back from COVID. Right now, our students, when I told my students about the competition, they were like, "Really? We're gonna get to do that?" They're hungry for it. So I'm sure if you open it up to them, they're gonna jump on it. So
Very cool.
I would, and it's only gonna help us. We sadly, but this is a reality. Across the board, we're all in a rebuilding mode, right? Our studios are not the way they were before COVID. We graduated several seniors. We have a lot of incoming freshmen that don't have their battle scars. They haven't gone to any competition. This is something that we so much need in the present time. So educators, fellow educators out there, I really encourage you to take part in this, and you won't regret it. You've heard what's going on, and it's gonna be fun, to say the least. Yes.
And one more piece of information to add, that you can register to participate, obviously, and pay the fee, and then you get your performance spot, you get into everything. But you can also come as a spectator. You can also come and just be in the audience. If you're a student, you can come and support your friends. And we're selling tickets at the door, then you can get into the event. You can go to the master classes, and you're open to watch all performances in any room. that's happening throughout the day. So high school or college division, final concert, your ticket gets you in to every performance throughout the day, including the master class, the clinics.
Mhm.
So even if you don't want to play, even if you're, I don't know, maybe you're a 9th grader who is brand new to solo music, don't feel comfortable, but you want to support your friends, absolutely. Like, this is for you. It's still great performances that you can get a lot from seeing. So.
Plus, you said there were going to be some master classes going on and performances by some of the guest
I
judges.
meant clinics, the Ivan Trevino and Sherry Rubin's clinics.
Yes.
I'm not the level of interactivity of those will be up to them.
Yes.
So,
but the information is going to be there. You're going to get to meet them and ask questions. I know.
Absolutely.
I've had Sherry in some of our events, and Ivan. I've been to some of the events he's been in. They're always welcoming. They're totally cool about having students go up to them and ask them questions. So yes, yeah, definitely.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So do you have any other additional kind of questions about the event that maybe we haven't already covered?
I haven't seen any questions on the on the comments yet. As soon as they do, I'll make them visual for you and let you guys know. But I haven't seen any questions.
Okay.
If
you want to repost the link, Marco, to the Google site
Sure.
or the competition site, and then if you want to put our email maybe in there as well.
Absolutely.
That way, if
one of you can copy and paste that, there's that, and then TIERRAS Percussion at Gmail.
I have a quick question, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Schirripa and Dr. Schirripa and Dr. Ramirez, can you guys hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Yes, because I'm hearing you guys. I started to hear you guys like with some static, and I'm wondering if that's what our viewers are experiencing. Any of our viewers, if you can make a comment and letting us know if you're actually hearing us clearly, and it just happens to be my audio, or I'm just concerned that they get the information. That's it.
Yeah, it's all sounded fine to me.
When Dr. Schirripa is talking, Dr. Ramirez, can you hear him clearly?
Yeah, I hear him clearly. I didn't want to say anything though, but I've been in the background scratching some records. I'm doing some sampling, trying to bring out my inner Beastie Boys meets Dr. Dre. You know what I mean? No, I'm just kidding. Everything sounds good.
Well, all we want is to hear you read Neruda. So.
Okay. Pablo Neruda. Let's see.
Gilbert, I posted in the chat there the link to the site again, our email, and then the link to the Facebook page if you were sharing those in the chat for the live stream. Just so they're all there for people if they need them.
Awesome. So yeah, it was just my audio.
Okay.
I see some comments from some of the viewers. Sounds good, crispy clear. Awesome. Yes, thank you. David Casas, Ron Schermerhorn is watching us. Josh Yanas, I believe that's one of my students. Yeah. Yes. I was just concerned that they were getting the information. Yeah, that was it.
So potentially this is what some of our contestants might be, participants might be dreaming about here. This is an excerpt from La Tierra, Pablo Neruda. It says, y cuando viene el sueño a extenderme y llevarme a mi propio silencio, hay un gran viento blanco. Nice, right?
Yes. So that's from that poem is where the title idea came from.
Yeah, TIERRAS. Yeah. So
he also Dr. Ramirez also designed the logo, which is a pretty sweet looking logo in my opinion. So
yes,
and then,
I used it on the thumbnail. I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, the logo was Mark, and then most of the website design was Ron Schermerhorn, who did a really awesome job doing a lot of that, and he took a lot of the pictures of like instruments he took himself to use as backgrounds, and really awesome team effort. And then with KK and I doing a lot of the social media stuff, it's really been a great pleasure to be a part of this sort of team we have assembled.
Yeah, KK, did some posts early on, and I actually got some really cool insight and perspective on how to actually post some, some content that was a little more, I think,
engaging,
kind of audience friendly. It was contemporary, but it was, it was cool, but it was still quite formal. So, it's really cool when you collaborate with different people, because you get to see kind of, again, you get an insight into their process,
Yes.
and I mean, as musicians, as artists, everything that we do, we really have this process, that goes into, kind of, our work. And
Yes.
so the more you can learn from people, right? Again, the more depth and insight and kind of, perspective that you're gaining, and hopefully, are able to communicate those things, in projects and in music that you create. I think it's just, really, really important and an invaluable part of the process. And I know, educators, artists that are comfortable with collaborating, those are the people that usually are doing something, very substantial.
Yes.
And whether it's around 50 to 100 years, I mean, eso es otra historia, right? But if that's the case, I mean, then it's then it becomes a part of the canon, right? It's literature, as it were.
Yes.
But yeah, who knows? Some of the competitors that come and participate in TIERRAS, could be future competitors that go to competitions, throughout the United States and maybe even internationally, and have success. So that's going to be something that will be pretty exciting and interesting to
Yes.
see as the competition, evolves. And, certainly, all of our studios, combined, are already, contributing students that are also going to be competing, at the collegiate level. So, it's hopefully going to, exceed expectations,
Yes.
when we're done.
Mhm.
And we are trying to be modest and realistic. We're coming off of, an incredible, year and a half, 2 years of life,
Yes.
kind of changing events
Life
for
changing.
everybody. But the good thing is that everything seems to be kind of calming down a little bit. All the numbers are going down, and I think we're going to be in a really good position, come December. And our plan B was, if COVID didn't really,
Give in.
kind of calm down and flatten out, by the December 4th date, that we might have to pivot into a virtual format. But
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna be
Yeah.
a
That's
concern
how
or a
it's looking.
problem. So, full steam ahead. And thank you again for
No.
extending an invitation, to us to come out and talk with you. And maybe we could maybe see if we can plan one more event where maybe we can
Yes.
get some of our other
Yes.
get the whole
contributors,
gang together.
co-directors to,
Yes. That would be
I
great.
think it would be awesome to hear everybody kind of speak, to the
Yes.
process and how everything evolved. And it'll be important, because, again, the goal is to get this to rotate to the different regions of South Texas, so that everybody gets to experience a different a different place, a different a facility, interact with students from that area as well.
Yes.
So we'll see.
I
But Gilbert, any questions?
one of our viewers gave this idea.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Commemorative shirt. because that's how it all started, right?
Yeah, I think we'll have to
I say let's write that one down.
Yeah.
we'll have to find
Thank you, David Casas.
we'll have to find some maybe little excerpts from the poem, and then maybe put a little okay. We have you know,
I think
several excerpts. You know, we put a vote out there. Which one do we like?
Oh, okay. I was thinking the tidbits that actually pushed you to select that title, but that's just an idea. I'm stoked that you guys are doing this. I'm excited. This is a promising event, and it's led by you know, serious goal-oriented individuals that we mentioned, you know, from UTRGV, from ANI Corp UT, or what is it in Corpus
Texas A&M
University?
Corpus Christi,
Texas A&M Corpus Christi,
Texas A&M International,
yes,
Laredo,
and STC,
South Texas College,
yes,
and hopefully Texas A&M Kingsville.
Yeah,
yes,
we'll definitely
so
have some additional people involved in the future now that we're,
yes,
you know,
so
especially trying to organize. It's hard to know every single person, you know. So I've definitely gotten contact like, hey, I'd love to be involved. And it's like,
yeah,
oh, wow, like I
yes,
didn't even realize that you were here. Like, oh, absolutely.
yes. So it's going to be a solid event. I foresee it being a great hit. I think you guys are gonna hit it out of the ballpark into the next zip code for sure. Yes, I personally would like to invite our peers, right? Take part in it. Take part in it. Take part in it. This is gonna be something huge, and it's gonna be here for the long haul, definitely. Um, I'm looking at some of our comments here. David Casas, I think you were asking, Dr. Ramirez. He's a regular in our streams. Yes. So you know, I'm glad you guys were able to do this and you were down, and we definitely need to do something where everybody is involved, all the brains of this monster event would be great. I think it'll help people, you know, really buy into it, right? Because the different professors, the different people taking part, have different people that know them personally, right? All of us have that. All of you guys have that, and I think that's going to help get more people involved for sure. Um, any last words that you guys that you gentlemen want to share with the listeners? And a lot of people will be watching this on the replay as well.
Just say thank you for having us and giving us this platform to talk about it. It's difficult to communicate something new with as wide of an audience as you can.
Yes.
You know, we're not buying a TV commercial. So word of mouth is kind of the way to go. So I really appreciate that. And just as long as everyone knows, we have a website, we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram.
Yes.
And then TIERRASpercussion@gmail. That's our email address. And you'll get a response from one of us. If you ask us a question, we're usually pretty fast about that. Any questions, even if it's something about, you know, if I enter, can I go at 10:30? You know, we can discuss that. If you have a question about repertoire, we can discuss that. Anything you need to know. There's no secrets. So
Awesome.
please reach out.
Dr. Ramirez.
Yeah, just you know, many thanks to, you know, all our sponsors, you know, that have agreed to you know, jump on board with this. You know, Marco mentioned, you know, Melhard, Zildjian, Big Firth, you know, Black Swamp, you know, Salier's Percussion, JG Percussion. Let's see, Heartland Marimba, is Beetle Percussion, and
Yes.
I think that's everybody, right?
Yeah, that's everyone.
Yeah. You know, hopefully, yeah. So, you know, a very, very special thank you to, you know, all our sponsors, an incredible, you know, thank you to, you know, Senya, you know, Dr. Moyer, you know, Mr. Ron Schermerhorn, you know, Marco Schirripa, you know, for all working together and making this a reality. You know, I really hope we can, continue to build this and give, students, of this region, more opportunities to experience, um, what the different parts of the region have to
Yeah.
offer. And then, the different artists and adjudicators that we're going to be bringing in the future. So just the thank you to all those folks, and a special thank you, to you, Gilbert, for hosting us. And we hope you, you'll have a, you'll be able to bring some of your students out, as
Yes,
well, to participate
for
and
sure.
or to, to
Experience it.
observe,
Yes.
yeah, and experience, and then of
And tell
course,
your friends.
Yes.
tell your friends. And then we look forward, to the Valley Percussion Festival in the spring.
Yes.
When you host it, it's always a really big event. So
We're
yeah,
already in the talks with some pretty exciting people, and in the past I've people are curious, of course, right? Like, who are you talking to, who are you going to bring? And sometimes it's kind of hard to say, because sometimes an artist will tell us, okay, I'm going, and then a month or two down the line, well, I just got offered a contract to go and tour for several months around that time, and it's like, oh, and the name changes, right? So but it's gonna be a great one. It's gonna coming back out of COVID, it's one to be remembered. Yes, for sure. That is what we're trying to do. Yes, awesome. Well, gentlemen, it's awesome to be able to interact with you guys, both of you. And formal invitation, we need to do an educational segment with each one of you. It would be a huge honor to have you guys here. We're having I've been in the talks with Thomas Lang, who is stoked about the idea and wants to do it. Also Derek Roddy and Ivan Nunez. These are the three gentlemen that. Oh, and Rob Brown as well. Rob Brown. He's in YouTube. He has a lot of educational videos. He's pretty popular. So, and definitely need to have both of you here. It would be a huge honor.
would love
Without,
to. Thank you.
yeah, awesome. Without any further ado, I think we've covered all our bases. And make sure you show up, make sure you register your students, and the sooner you do it, the better. That way the planning can be more smooth, a lot smoother, a lot better. Maybe they can accommodate the times that you need. I know some students have different things that they do in different activities. Sometimes they have to be scheduled in the afternoon, because in the morning they have, an event or an activity that they're going to compete in. So the sooner you do it, the better. And you want to have your students participate. So with all that, we will say until next time, stay tuned to our channels, so you can see the dates and times of the shows, educational segments that we will have, and a lot of neat stuff that we'll be coming up with, in addition to having a follow-up TIERRAS discussion roundtable. Yes. Until next time, gentlemen.